Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the American Indoor Football Alliance for a very special partnership announcement. Before we start, I want to apologize for our late start. Technology is a blessing and a curse, and today it was a little bit more of a curse than it was a blessing, but we figured it out. So thank you for hanging in there with us and waiting to hear our exciting news, which you probably kind of figured out based on the person sitting next to Mr. Walker here. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch because we want to get to the announcement, and both Mr. Walker and Mr. Dash have been waiting for about an hour. And so just want to talk a little bit about how we got here. The American Indoor Football Alliance was born out of a thought from Alton Walker, who is a native here of Tampa, Florida. Having played in several football leagues and then himself being an owner and GM and coach in several leagues, decided along with some other owners that they wanted to create a league that was a little bit different. That wasn't about just football, but was about players first and creating whole human beings. And so that is how the American Indoor Football Alliance was birthed, or the AIFA. So I'm going to turn it over to Alton to talk a little bit about his vision, why we're here today, and then to introduce our special guest. Alton?
Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming out, some of the players, you guys in the media, everybody that's watching. My vision for the American Indoor Football Alliance kind of came from going through some situations that I had gone through myself as a player, as a coach and owner, and then also having kids myself. And I wanted to try to do something that made sense for us as a culture. We kind of, with what's going on in the NFL and around the country right now, we kind of get, underestimated and overlooked when it comes to certain things. But now, as Dame said, we're the landlords of this particular building. We control the narrative, we control a lot of everything that goes on in the bad and ugly in the Alliance League. I want to also thank my partners, the owners of the Alliance League, the St. Louis Bandits, the Carolina Predators, the Las Vegas Kings, Mississippi Raiders, along with, of course, the Tampa Bay Cyclones, and a number of other expansion teams that we're going to be kind of hinting about, but we're not going to release a lot of those names and locations until March 26th at the Kickoff Classic that will be held in Jackson, Mississippi. It's been an honor and a privilege to talk with and partner with the young man that I'm going to bring up here to the podium to kind of talk to you guys a little bit. It's a dream come true for me to have someone of this caliber on my side to guide me and help me go through these things and kind of take it to a whole different level as we create the marriage between entertainment and sports on a permanent basis. We have a lot of things that we're going to be doing in the Tampa Bay area that Dame, I'm sure, will touch on, but it's some things that's going to pretty much change history. Make history. Change Tampa Bay, I know for sure. We're going to do a lot of things around the league that's going to set the AIFA on a whole different level from all other arena leagues, past, present, and so forth. And we're going to create the future right here today, talking with you guys. So I'm going to step down real quick and bring up my business partner with the Tampa Bay Cyclones, as well as the AIFA, Mr. Dame Dash.
So, thanks for everybody for coming. I pride myself in going into industries and conquering them because usually these industries don't move our culture. And they're usually made and programmed to control us, where we have no ownership and we have to appreciate having a position in a house that we don't own and have to do what we have to do to stay there. So I did what I had to do in music. I've done certain things in movies, fashion, art, and what's really always bothered me as it relates to the way we're treated. The biggest example has always been sports. I've always hated the fact that a football player, basically whoever pays them is who they look up to. That's like their god in some sort of way. And in the NFL, you know, if all the black people quit, there's no NFL. But if you look at the owner's box, there's not one black owner. And if you're dependent on your owner, I don't even like the word owner in that respect. That's the person that pays you. That's like, you know, the person that you're looking to. Then as a black man, you're looking at a white man to pay you and control your destiny. And I've personally tried to buy teams in the NFL, and I know other people that have tried. And there's a crew of people that aren't from our culture that make that decision not to have any of us as owners. And I don't like that narration. I don't like that programming. I think it's a big example of disrespect. And I'm not going to complain about somebody else's house. I'm just going to build my own, or our own, one that behooves us. You know, I just feel like the NFL hasn't really had any competition. And, you know, again, because there's no options, nobody's hitting back, because we're just a punching bag that has to get hit all the time, I feel they think they're tougher than they are. And we have to take a shot at swinging on them. In the form of building our own house, making our own rules, being the landlords, and having a sustainable business that behooves us as a culture, the players, as well as the owners. So our plan is to come into different markets and renaissance the whole town. You know, make sure there's good places to live, good places to eat, you know, deal with the therapy that you have to deal with just from being from one culture and dealing with another, or being a football player that has to be battered and abused, and, you know, maybe not taught the certain kind of skills that have life after football, economic empowerment, therapy, recognizing unrecognized trauma, keeping everybody really healthy, which is what's real wealth. But economic empowerment is everything. So teaching out the players how to be rich, making sure our black NFL coaches that were not recognized are recognized as head coaches here, making sure that everybody remains healthy. When you walk away from our league, you're not going to value the team by how much the owner makes. We want to value the team by how much the player owns. And we have a business model that can back and support that and keep the league healthy. Now, this is my first time running a team, being a part of a league. Bolton has a dream, I have a dream, ours coincide. He's ready to fight, I'm ready to fight. And whoever else is ready to fight for the right thing, which is love, come get on this team. But at the end of the day, this is about independence. This is about us as a culture being the owners and making sure that we look out for us as a culture, players, the whole nine. And when I say culture, I don't just mean black, I mean like-minded. You know, people that feel that we all bring something to the table and we should all benefit. So, you know, again, I've actually put together a circle of people that can economically support, and once we figure this first year out, it's going to be a lot next year. We have big plans, there's real estate, a whole lot. And, you know, I'm very transparent. Transparency means everything. So again, I just don't feel like anyone's ever taken a proper try at getting at them, especially from our culture. And I'm looking forward to the future. And when I dream big. And I don't think about any of the negative things that can happen, because they won't. You know, we'll make sure they don't. And we'll do our best. But at least it's going to happen. But we definitely trying. So we look forward to making sure that every single game feels like a Super Bowl, you know, that the rules are made that behoove us, and combining so many different things culturally at one time. So this is a new venture for me, you know, and I take pride in winning on every level, and I take pride in my culture winning. Unless my culture wins, I don't win. So I look forward to that as well, and stay tuned. Thank you.
Ooh, yes.
Are there any questions?
What are some challenges going into owning a sports team that might be different from things that you've dealt with other avenues that you've taken in your life?
Well, everything that I've always started, there's always been unforeseen challenges, and I can't call them until I actually get in the game. It's like saying how you're going to get tackled before you start playing. I know I will get tackled, but I know I will get up and get back. That's what I do know. it's trial and error, but we try to be as prepared as possible and deal with things logically, And again, a lot of things that happen are illogical, but it's actually logical when it comes to controlling. So, our thing is the freedom. We're the freedom league. You know what I mean? And we want to showcase what it looks like as free culturally, and making sure that every athlete benefits after they're actually physically playing. It's about the future.
Any other questions?
What are y'all most excited for in the season that you can tell us about for the season?
The thing that I'm most excited for is the whole season as a whole. This is the first. This is historic for not only here in Tampa, but altogether. This is the first black-owned league. So we are the first league to be able to go to the NFL and the regional combine. So we're making a lot of history this year. So the completion of the year for me is what I'm most excited about. Of course, winning and beating all y'all that's watching. I know y'all watching, Carolina, Mississippi, all y'all. Yeah, we gonna keep your business. But that's kind of what I'm most excited about, the success of everybody, the Carolinas, the Mississippis, the Vegas, and everyone.
I'm excited about sitting in the owner's box and really being owned and just celebrating that, and showing that visualization to the rest of the world. In a dream, you have to be able to visualize it to make it really happen. And a lot of times they just don't show us culturally winning. And I want to showcase on Foxhole, because this revolution will be televised unless there's a better opportunity, But everyone will see what it looks like for us culturally to be the landlords, to own it, not to be a VIP or some guest in somebody else's box and have to appreciate it. For us to really feel the pride of ownership and making the rules, and as opposed to abiding by them. Those rules that control us and make us unhappy and depressed. Those rules that we're not gonna have to deal with anymore. We're gonna make the rules. What does the world look like when we make the rules? It's a better place, I think, because it's not about control, it's about freedom. I'm not scared of people being independent. I actually welcome it. Independent and free thinking and dreaming, that's what this league's about. This is where it started. It started from a dream. And this is a scary dream to the people that if it comes true, we put them out of business. This is a scary dream to people that are used to having to ask them and be told what to do and be happy to be patted on the back and given a piece of jewelry and not real estate. So this is a different way of thinking. This is scary, and it's not a dream unless it's scary, and I love it.
Dan, when you talk about, you said that you've attempted to purchase an NFL franchise before. Can you shed a little bit more insight into that, or just at least?
Well, I tried to buy the Raiders, but they weren't really for sale when they were moving into Vegas. So I called the president and was like, because the deal didn't make sense with the stadium at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Vegas going week, learning that. And, I was around the commissioner and things of that nature. So, I got with Ray Lewis, and he was like, I got that. The money, we called them, and they were like, maybe the moving, there wasn't any room, and there wasn't any room to buy the arena because the state owned it. But maybe when they moved, there was some moving fees that took, so we were gonna do that. But then Jerry Jones came and I think paid for it, for their merch. So basically I got beef with Jerry Jones. I'd like to talk to him. I'd like to understand why there's not any black owners or what that's all about. I ain't got nothing bad to say, I just wanna know, what it feels like to sit in a room and we not there. What do they talk about when they talk about us as players when we're not there? We have no representation in ownership, period. We have no say-so. And these people, I guarantee you, their grandparents had slaves. So they probably live in a certain way. These people like 90 and 80, no disrespect, but this is a new day. And there has to be new rules, and making somebody a head coach here and there, and this, that, and third, this should be an owner. So hopefully, this will make them be aware that if they don't have an owner, they'll have competition where we'll give owners, but we're definitely not gonna be scared to say something about it. Because, the only way to stop this is to stop this. We have to create an alternative. Someplace where the players could be rich and financially all right. A league where they can go and know that their family's gonna be okay. So we're gonna also make the wealthy league as well. Regardless of what, we're gonna get money. That's what I'm about. And we're about all of us getting money, the circle of success, period. So, to me, there's no loss in the try, but the try doesn't even come into play. I only visualize the W, the win, and the chip. So, this year Tampa should be taking the chip as well. and so many other things that we're doing. So again, remember, this revolution will be televised, regardless of what worst case scenario is on Fox Soul. And we have other partners that reflect the things we're talking about. So I got the Tommy Duncan in healthcare and this JetDoc, and that's an app that gives you a hospital in your pocket. You get to go see a doctor. Culturally, we don't like going to the doctor. Do you notice that hospitals, jails, and schools all look the same? That's so we don't go to it. That's so that we're controlled a certain way. So again, culturally, if we know we ain't got to walk into a hospital, maybe we can do it from the phone, get a prescription there, that'll work out. But every player will have that. You have an alternative to, like, an unhealthy Gatorade. We know what that does to you. No disrespect, because they might come sponsor and have to work it out. But right now, we have the answer to that. We have the answer to what gives us the number one reason for diabetes and heart disease and cancer, which is meat. So we have an alternative with a black-owned alternative to meat with everything legendary, and we'll be able to also be able to make sure we're healthy while we're partying. So we have healthy Gatorade, healthy cheeseburgers, and we got health in general. That's where we have to start. And then we have a big agenda for education and health. So we have a doctor coming through to the team to teach them what makes them really healthy, from A to B to Z. From mentally to physically. So the whole thing is a 360 experience of love, to be honest. And we want everyone to benefit that's like-minded.
So with the NFL right now, they're dealing with a lawsuit from ex-head coach Brian Flores from the Miami Dolphins. Can you tell us what you guys think about how they're implementing this Rooney Rule and what needs to be changed for them to be more black owners, more black head coaches in the league?
Competition, this league, and others that come through. If there's no competition, obviously what you see is they do whatever they want flagrantly. Like I said, from an owner's box, you can't hear what everybody's saying in the crowd. So they just doing whatever they want to do. Unless there's competition, unless there's somebody to swing back and continue to make the rules. Like again, I don't want a seat at the table. I want my own table. I don't want to be humbled and have to be thankful when someone throws me a bone. That's not what we're here for. We have more pride than that in this league. So again, my answer to the NFL is this league, period. And more leagues to come underneath this umbrella. I don't like the way the HBCUs are treated. I don't like the fact that, now these kids can get sponsored and they don't televise that. There's a lot of little things I see that bother me. And instead of talking about it, I'm gonna just do something about it. Just bringing awareness just aggravates people, it triggers. But really having a solution, that's therapeutic. This is therapy for me. And I used to play football as well. I played for South Kent. I played middle linebacker and running back. And I know how hard it is to even be in high school. And I know that when I was in high school, they didn't teach me how to be a coach, how to do any administrative skill. They didn't say, it's louder to get to the NFL. You might not make it. What are you going to do if you don't make it? If you do make it, it might not last past 30. What do you do after 30? None of that was taught to us in school. All that was presented to us was an option to beat a social class by not going to actual class and learning how to have a job and depending and putting your whole life into athletics. And if you don't make it there, then what do? Then you hit the street. Then you're back in jail or you're in jail. So I look at the system and I'm thinking, damn, 100 years ago or more, when slaves became illegal, the people that made the laws were like, damn, we can't have slaves, but we got to make some laws. And the laws aren't meant to last for 10 years. They're meant to last for 102. How can we make them slaves and make it legal? Let's keep them in a place of struggle, make them fight each other, never fight us, and all they'll do is commit a crime, they'll end up in shackles again, a cage, and work for slave wages. And master now becomes CO or warden. It's a program to keep us there, and nothing's changed in 100 years. I don't expect the oppressor to change a thing. The only thing that could change, or who's going to change it, has to be us. We're the jewel of the universe, and the only way to control the jewel is to think the jewel is not the jewel. We know how powerful we are. We know what it looks like when we come together. Just most people are scared. I'm not. And I'm hoping that other people aren't. And we'll showcase that with the support financially, economically as well. We'll make it an offer that you cannot refuse. At least that's our intention, and that's the direction we're going.
How do you feel about, so I obviously, and Alton and I have been talking now for close to a year about this, and when we first started talking, it blew me away to find out that there had never been a player or an athlete from historically black college to get an invite to the NFL Combine. That stat just boggled my mind.
Yeah.
Like I had
It's disrespectful.
I was thinking, because I could name 5 or 6 just off the top of my head. Like,
Right.
blew me away. So when I found that out, it's funny, but since he's been busting his tail to get to this point, I've seen him progress. Keep moving forward, little by little. I'm very proud of you, by the way. You've done an amazing job. To see this is a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir.
But then, do you think that you had some influence on that? Because what also blew me away, just last month I turned on NFL Network and I see now they're at the HCBU Combine.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did the first invite just go out?
It did to a DB from Florida A&M.
It's about damn time.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think not myself, but you know what Dion is doing over at Jackson State and
Yeah.
the noise that he's making around the league. Period. I think that played a very big part of it. But it is about time. You know, it is. I've always said some of the best athletes in the world are not playing in the NFL. You know, you got a lot of the boys standing right here that just didn't have the opportunity. And if you go back in history and look at, you know, almost half, or if not more, of the Hall of Famers that are in the NFL, they all went to HBCU. Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, you know, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just give us a fair shake.
Sure.
Give us a fair shake.
Sure.
And it's like you gotta appreciate that. You know, it's like spoon feeding us what we're entitled to have in the first place. It's just disrespectful. We gotta be happy when we're spoon fed freedom, or at least what's entitled. But again, I just think we gotta build our own house, and then we don't have to complain about the rules. We just make them.
It's a beautiful thing, and honestly, like post Kaepernick, like I educated myself on a lot of different stuff because you talk about programming, and I want to dive into that. But you know, as a white dude, just watching TV, you just catch the headlines, right? You just catch the headlines,
That's the clickbait.
right? And so, without doing research, you're all programmed in a way to think certain things. So I come from, you know, military family. So when that happened, honestly, I took the clickbait for a little while till I looked into it. And we had this conversation. We were talking about marketing. A lot of people don't know this. Prior to 9/11, the players stayed in the tunnels.
Oh yeah.
They stayed in the tunnels. There was no national anthem for them to kneel for or stand for. What changed? We went to war, right? When you see the stealth bombers fly over, you would swear that the NFL was paying the military, but it's the opposite, total opposite. The military pays the NFL. When I found that out, when I started looking into it, I said, wait a minute, how could that be? I said, oh, I get it. It's recruiting. Because when that stealth bomber flies over, right, and the paratroopers jump out and land on the 50-yard line, you get goosebumps, man. Give me the paper, I'll sign up right now. You know what I mean? And guess what? It worked. You look at the analytics, you look at the stats, and you see that it was a whole marketing gimmick. And then they came up with the Salute to Service Month and the camouflage, and they sell extra jerseys, extra hats. And I'm not saying there's no good in that.
Well, it's
but-
understanding the power
Yes, sir.
of when you have a lot of people and they're inspired. So when we have a lot of people who are going to inspire them to eat healthy, get the therapy that helps them, be economically empowered, be in the way of Renaissance, get into the arts, the NFTs, the things we're going to do in the metaverse. I didn't even get to that. It's going to be, you know, that's a whole nother thing. But trust me, I do have the IOs for the MFL, the Metaverse Football League, and some serious technology where we'll be able to make a real big difference. You know, we have to think a dimension ahead of time these days.
Yeah.
And that's a new world that we're going to be ahead of as well. So, you know, again, the power of patterns and a lot of people looking at them, you know, in the wrong hands, they make you do the wrong things.
Sure.
If we have the attention, we got the attention in the right, then, you know, we're going to make sure people are looking at the right things. We're going to make that cool. Those are the patterns you'll see, the right ones, not the control ones, the freedom ones.
And some of the things that we're doing in the Alliance League, since Dane has come aboard, it's going to be something, as I said, it's going to be tremendous for the whole league. I'm talking in movies. Everyone knows his credibility when it comes to music and movies and everything. So just imagine football along with those things all in one event. It's just going to be great. Plus more that we haven't said yet.
But wait till you see our tailgate parties. That's going to be with the BBS boys.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
vegan festivals in the parking lot. You know, we're in there from 8:30 to 2:30 a.m. So it's going to be a festival every day. It's going to be a party, but a productive one, a positive party. You know, a love fest.
Can you talk a little bit more about Obviously, and also, you know, with history with previously the pandemic, the struggles that you faced, all the work that you did to get to this point, and now partner with this awesome man and be able to move. Your trajectory is obviously trending upwards, but you have to be able to face it. We still are, whether you believe it or not, right? We're still in the pandemic.
That's the metaverse play.
Yes, sir.
You know, any business model moving forward that doesn't include being like pandemic proof, there's really a dumb business model because it could happen at any time again.
Sure.
So, you know, we're prepared for that. That's why there's a big real estate play. But again, we will be able to put ourselves in a certain kind of bubble if this ever happens again in luxury. And if you don't see us in person, we'll check you in the metaverse or the multiverse. But it will seem just as realistic. So we have big plans as it relates to that. And that's a whole part of the business model. Another announcement we're gonna make is the professional lacrosse team that's coming after that. But you know, we don't want to distract from what we're talking about today.
Sure.
But there's gonna be announcement after announcement after announcement. You know how stocks do when you make an announcement, they go up. We got a bunch of announcements that are gonna make the stock go up, and they should. You know, again, these are innovative things that have never been done before. So when you do something first, you can't do it wrong. And at any rate, you have the courage to at least try. But again, I don't see us losing at this. I just don't see it.
I think it's at a perfect time, and I think it's very well put together. You got a lot of time and energy and effort, research, due diligence, hard work put into this to get to this point. So I'm looking forward to see it.
Appreciate it.
We have time for one last question.
You got a question?
We kind of asked it already. But Alton is very passionate about giving back to his community and, you know, just helping out all these people. You know, how are you going to add to that?
Like I said, I have a complete focus and agenda of coming in, bringing mental health awareness and fixing that, or at least every player should be balanced. Actual health curriculum, and I think Dr. D. Nice's husband is here from North Carolina, so there's a whole curriculum there. Automatically, we'll be shooting films. You know, we have a stadium to work in, so we'll be utilizing that. The NFT game as it relates to the arts, the health with the jet dock, and making sure that if a player doesn't feel like going to the hospital, he can just go in his pocket on his phone. And also we'll be adding some therapy into that as well. You know, and then the fact that, again, this revolution will be televised. You know, sometimes, most of the times, they don't talk about when we're helping ourselves. And I don't expect them to. We will talk about it. We have our own television network. We'll have our own movies. We have our own merch. You know, we understand how to stimulate all the octopus legs, the ancillary things, the video games. You know, look at everything they do, and we're just gonna do it cooler and better. Everything that the NFL will not do for their players, we will do for their players as well. They're welcome to come over here too. We'll protect them. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna protect us culturally. Football players that are like-minded, not a color thing, but we wanna be the landlords.
All right. I think that does it. Thank you all for coming. If you all want interviews after, let us know and we'll take care of that.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.